Hello, this is Matt on the Moon Lambo channel. Do you want to know why those toxic Bitcoin maximalists absolutely hate anyone who holds XRP, anybody who's pro XRP and or Ripple? Well, a former Ripple employee certainly has an idea, which I'll show you as we progress into this latest Moon Lambo hot jam, but I won't tease you too much. This former Ripple employee is speculating perhaps it's because XRP's been substantially outperforming Bitcoin, and I'll show you exactly what he calculated. I mean, this guy put together some freaking spreadsheets. I love to see this. It's just a beautiful thing. So not only is XRP just dominating, absolutely dominating Bitcoin's little bitch ass, it's also the case, as you all know, in recent days on top of that, this is what further triggered them, obviously, is, the Trump signing the executive order, and then there's all this speculation about XRP being included in a national crypto stockpile. And there's all sorts of rumors about that. And then XRP not getting, or not having to be, not being taxed if you sell it in the United States, a 0% tax rate. There's all sorts of stuff, and I've been talking about it in recent days. But my God, it all started in November with this price hike because so many of these people believe their own crap in their echo chambers, like XRP is never going to perform. Eventually, since it's crap, it falls out of the top 10 and it goes to zero against Bitcoin. They actually have believed that. Now, meanwhile, you and I have been paying attention. We have noticed that XRP just works. It works just as well as it did. Well, actually, technically better because it's got some bells and whistles. There's more stuff you can do with it now. But just from a functional perspective in terms of payments, it does what Bitcoin can't. Instant settlement, real time, and transactions cost a fraction of a penny, even with high volume. It does all sorts of stuff. It just freaking works. And there's a reason that it's always been in the top 10 coins by market cap, and people keep adopting it, and utility keeps increasing, more developers building on top of the ledgers. Like, we're seeing this because we're paying attention. They're in an echo chamber. So we're not surprised by this, but they hate us because they didn't know this. And there's also very clearly a bit of a living in fantasy land, a bit of denial. So we'll break into it. But before going further, I do want to be clear, I do not have a financial background of any kind. I am not offering financial advice, and you definitely should not buy or sell anything because of anything I say or write. I'm just an enthusiast who enjoys making YouTube videos about crypto-related topics, but just as a hobby and just for fun. It's nice to see that XRP has recovered a bit. Dropped as low as $2.69 as Bitcoin tanked the whole market, and it was in tandem with the stock market. I talked about that in my last video, so I'm not going to go too much into that, but it is up. Happy to see that. It's at $3.08, at least at the time that I'm recording this. And so there is this post from chart analyst Credible Crypto, and I absolutely love this. He wrote, "Bitcoin maxis, you need to do better with your FUD campaign. I don't think it's been very effective thus far." And he's got the little laughy emoji. And so you can see the price of XRP, from the tail end of November rocketing up here. But really what he's highlighting is what just happened as we just had this crash today. And really, I mean, again, stock market took it in the shorts, the NASDAQ 100 specifically, NVIDIA down like 17% just about. So everything went down, including XRP. But man, XRP has rebounded. It has absolutely rebounded to this point anyway. But look at this. So XRP went down, because you can see how it wicked down to here, and then it's just up. It's just like, it's actually above where it was. So he posted this at 5:23 p.m., and it's a little higher than that as the time I'm recording this. That's hilarious to me. So yeah, Bitcoin maxis, their FUD campaign, I tell you, it's just out of control. In recent days, the lies they're spewing, the degree to which they're highlighting XRP, and it's all good because look, the people in their echo chamber, they're not going to change their minds, but anybody who is coming in to crypto, who's new, they're a blank slate, they're going to see both sides debating this thing, screaming at each other, and if they do look into it, and they actually do their own due diligence, they're going to recognize we're correct because the facts are on our side, and they're blatantly lying. That is what they're doing. This is only good for us. It just brings more attention to this, so I'm here for it. I think it's absolutely fantastic. So you go ahead and try and continue that FUD campaign, but XRP, it's going to be just fine. Here's a post from chart analyst Dom. He was responding to somebody I'm not familiar with, somebody named Markout. I guess he was talking about some market expectations here. And he wrote, absolutely shocking daily candle about to be printed for XRP today. Not seeing many discussing this on the timeline. This kind of candle is very telling. The hunger for XRP is real. Be positioned well and remember who made fun of XRP or fudded you out of it. Okay, so I can't speak to that, and I'm not familiar with this particular guy. I don't know if he does a lot of charting or not. But I would certainly agree with the general sentiment that there's hunger for XRP. That is very clear. Look at how many institutions have filed for XRP ETFs. It's 7 now. 7 since October. That's incredible. And some of these things are going to get approved now that you've got Trump in charge. Thankfully, we had the change in administration. We have the first pro-crypto administration in history. So some of those are going to get approved, if not all of them. And so, yeah, and the reason they're doing it is because there is a hunger. So anyway, Dom responded to that, though, which is why I wanted to highlight this, because he makes a good point here. He says, very telling, and was my greater expectation to wipe out long positioning. Close the day above $3 or even $2.90, and it's hard to look at that as bearish. Buyers waited and gobbled up that dip very quickly. And folks, that is incredible. Like I showed you the wick here. I mean, because Credible Crypto here pulled up again. Credible Crypto shared this in a post. Look at that. It just wicked straight on down, then whoop, and the price went right back up because of the demand for XRP. So when he wrote here, when Dom wrote, buyers waited and gobbled up that dip very quickly. Yeah, no kidding. Absolutely, that's correct. And here's a post from chart analyst Z Greg Crypto. This is fascinating. XRP market cap alert. Current dump analysis. And he was posting this early in the morning, and obviously the market has recovered further since then. But anyway, so here's what he said. A characteristic, artificial movement. And then he said key evidence, low volume confirmation. And then he said market tell, lack of organic selling pressure. Low volume dumps typically equal weak hands, not backed by institutional selling. Suggests potential bear trap. And he says, as far as the volume profile, below average trading volume, weak distribution pattern, no significant selling pressure. And so he says, the takeaway is this price action lacks genuine selling conviction. And it is interesting. I mean, you can look at the volume, and he's pointing it out on his chart here. Here, I'll pull it up on Live Coin Watch. If you look back over the last 24 hours. So it's not that there hasn't been anything for XRP, but if you look at when it was going down here, like... It's not like there's nothing crazy anyway. I mean, frankly, it increased as people were buying more, but not as it was selling. I mean, you can see, look at the gray shadow. That's for those of you that are not familiar. If you look at the darker area here, that's the volume. Look at what it did. So, I mean, small uptick going into this thing from last night, but not much at all. So, just kind of interesting thing here. Now, if you're worried about whether or not we're at the top for this market cycle, the answer is no. The answer is no. If history is going to keep rhyming with itself. So this chart is the GMI Bitcoin Cycle Top Finder. And the pinkish chart here, that is the price for Bitcoin. And the other chart here, it goes up every few years. Yeah, that would be the Cycle Top Finder. And this is proprietary. So this is something that GMI does. So this is posted by Julian Biddle. He's the head of macro research at Global Macro Investor. That's GMI. Fantastic organization. Raoul Paul is the founder of it. And so I don't know, because this is proprietary, I don't know what they have behind the scenes that calculates this, but this metric they're using, which is, it's charting based on real data, obviously. You can see that for every single cycle that there's ever been, when you hit the top for Bitcoin, it was up here. I mean, just look at the screen. You can see how high it got. Very similar. So unless this time is different for the first time in history, we are not there, folks. We are not at the high, and alt season comes after this. So there's really not a whole lot to be afraid about as far as what has happened, especially over the last 24 hours. It's really not looking scary. And Raoul Paul, he shared this post and a screen grab from his latest monthly newsletter here. And I just want to share a couple snippets because he's highlighting like the crazy fun part, which he calls the banana zone. That is what's yet ahead. It's where things go bananas. And, kind of looks like the curve of a banana, so he's got a couple reasons there that he calls it that. And so here he wrote, I'm traveling for the next week, but just keep this summary at hand from this month's Global Macro Investor. It is all noise. Calm down, touch grass, buy the effing dip, and please don't F this up. And that's what he shared this morning as prices were obviously plummeting to a certain degree, and we've seen some good rebound action since then. But here he wrote, taking all of our work into consideration, we believe 2025 will be another good year for risk assets, and that we're still only in the early stages of the banana zone, which officially kicked off last year with global M2 breaking higher. And so that's the money supply. M1 would be the most liquid funds, and then M2 is the next one out. And he wrote, we're going to echo what we've said in the past. 20 to 30% corrections are completely normal. Expect them, embrace them, and if you're in a position to do so, use them as opportunities to add. then move on. And you can see again, he's highlighting what has happened in previous cycles. Bitcoin just rockets to the upside. And so you can see visually, does that look the same? No, we're not there yet. This is not the end. And so, and the reason that that global M2 comment was higher is because as liquidity increases, I mean, it's got to go somewhere. If people think about it, if people have more money, maybe there will be an increased appetite for investing further out the risk curve in the stock market, which would mean small cap stocks, and then in the world of crypto, investing further out into smaller and smaller cap altcoins, and then breaking away from just Bitcoin. So of course it starts at the top with other large caps like Ethereum, XRP, so on and so forth. But that's what happens. As you see an increase in global liquidity, you see this is what happens. It's 4-year cycles. It's based on global liquidity. That is it. It's not the halving. It's not the Bitcoin halving that's causing this. It is this, and then but there's greater liquidity. It flows into XRP and everything else. The best is unquestionably yet ahead. So we'll get to look forward to that, even though those toxic Bitcoin maximalists hate us. It's kind of funny, at least. Take a look at this from the Crypto Basic. And I was talking about this at the outset of the video. If MicroStrategy would have bought XRP rather than Bitcoin, here's how much profit it would have made. Software development for MicroStrategy would have witnessed a nearly 3-fold increase in profit if it invested in XRP rather than Bitcoin. And by the way, I'll just say this and I'll explain why in a minute. It would have been more than a 3-fold increase. It would have been substantially more than that. I can't know for sure what it would be, but you'll see why I'm saying that in a minute. Anyway, the ongoing hostilities between the Bitcoin and XRP communities have grown more intense following speculation that XRP might secure inclusion in the U.S. Strategic Reserve. Notably, these speculations came on the back of the recent crypto executive order from President Donald Trump. Amid the growing FUD campaign XRP has faced over the past few days, former Ripple and current Arbitrum developer advocate Matt Hamilton called attention to what he believes could be contributing to the hostility from Bitcoin maximalists. Okay, so this is Matt Hamilton, and he has been in the XRP community since before me. I believe he jumped in 2016. So he was in the XRP community first, and then he just so happened to ultimately get a job at Ripple some years later. I can't remember exactly when. Maybe it was 2018 or 2019. He was there for a little while, and then he went on to other stuff. He's still part of the community, though. And he has an idea about why those toxic Bitcoin maximalists are so damn salty. Man, they some salty bitches. Salty-ass bitches. Here's what Matt Hamilton said. Interesting. I'm not normally one that pays much attention to crypto prices as they fluctuate so much, but maybe this is why Bitcoin maximalists are so angry right now. If MicroStrategy had been buying XRP instead of Bitcoin, then the value today would be $79 billion versus $28 billion. Who knows what the future holds, but my point here is to point out that that some people might be assuming that Bitcoin is the best long-term investment, not necessarily so. And so he put some spreadsheets together here, or he got them from somewhere, but somebody had to make this. So here's this one he probably pulled from somewhere because it's Bitcoin. I wouldn't be surprised if somebody had already made this, but maybe he did. But either way, it's showing from the bottom to the top every single purchase of Bitcoin from MicroStrategy, which I think at this point, don't they hold something stupid like 2% of all Bitcoins? It's something ridiculous like that. It's just like isn't it over 400,000 Bitcoin? If I'm not mistaken. Anyway, so you can see how much Bitcoin is purchased, the amount, the total Bitcoin. Oh yeah, it's right there actually, 450,000 Bitcoin. That's as of January 13th. Okay, so my brain's working right. And so it's worth $27.5 billion roughly. And so you can see what it's worth on the way up. And of course the price has changed, which so fluctuates, so on and so forth. But anyway, so that's what it's worth as of that time that was created. But what if it was XRP instead? What if they put the same amount of money into that, and then you factor what the price of XRP was at the time, and how much XRP that would have bought you? Well, what you find is, and so this one is inverted, so you start at the top to see what the earliest transactions would have been in August of 2020, down to July 13th of this year, and you see that it would be worth $78.7 billion. Now, here's the thing, though, and this is what I was alluding to a minute ago. It would be worth way more than that. Because this is a boatload of XRP. They never would have been able to get this much. Because in this scenario, it would have been 31 billion XRP. So they'd have a third of the supply of XRP, but in reality they wouldn't. And why? Because of supply and demand dynamics. They would, if they put that much money in XRP, which they could have, the amount of XRP available to every other human that did want to buy it, it would have been more scarce. It would have driven price way up. And as the price went way up, that means that the quantity of XRP that MicroStrategy had, it depends on what, so you could argue it'd be less than that. But then how much higher would the price of XRP be? See, that's why it's technically unknowable, but no matter what, it unquestionably would have been a way better investment than putting money into Bitcoin. So that's kind of funny. Unquestionably, XRP has been substantially outperforming Bitcoin, as was obvious. There's a chance every 4 years for XRP to hit a new all-time high, right? During the crazy euphoria, and we're still waiting for the peak euphoria to come for this cycle. But it's not surprising that, given that we missed last cycle because of the SEC nonsense lawsuit, that we had to wait until now for this to happen. That made a ton of sense. And I said that for years. Like after that cycle is over, I spent years saying, okay, well, we're going to have to wait until the next cycle comes. But then when we're there, of course, XRP will be a part of it. And here we are. I've been saying that for years. And here we are, because that's the only thing that logically made sense. And so, of course, with all the ground that has to be made up, of course, it's a way better opportunity. Of course it is. So you'll love to see it. But yeah, maybe that's a little bit of why these toxic Bitcoin maximalists aren't such big fans of us. I'm not a financial advisor. You should not buy or sell anything because of anything I say or write. That would be a very, very, very bad idea. Until next time, to the moon, Lambo.